Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Tuesday the 13th of November 2018. Happy Veterans Day wrapping up here to everyone. It was a light day, but actually, even with Veterans Day and the banks closed, we still did 2.2 billion shares on the NASDAQ, and the market did move. It just wasn't quite as technically significant as usual, but here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market and futures form rolled over a couple of days. After popping last week, we're back to where we were a month ago. Not a lot here, although it certainly looks negative from the breadth perspective, and we're back under the 10 EMA. So more negative than positive, obviously, but we'll see what happens when people come back and are actually trading normal tomorrow, Tuesday. So here's a look at crude oil, which has been the good news, down $1.33 to 58.86 now that we are well clear of the summer months. Gold down 780. Making a move lower. S&P cash index lost 54.79 today in the move. Gap down a little bit, did not fill. I'll show you that in a minute. NASDAQ 100, on the other hand, down 210 points. A lot of that's Apple and then Google. We'll look at those too, but real negative move there for the NASDAQ, and that puts us dangerously close to the lows that we set back in October. And if you crack those, I don't think it's going to be pretty. SOX down 54.56. Inverted cup and handle formation here. And by the way, if you look at the area around 1240, that was kind of the low back in February. It was the low in late April, and then we broke it back in October. We kind of got back up and retested it, and now we're rolling again. So that area may have turned into resistance, and that's not a good sign. Biotech's down 101.12. This one could crack the year lows. It would be a nice base breakdown if it did. Russell 2000 down 30.69. By the way, we made money today on Amgen, which is biotech. We got the VIX up $3.09 to 20.45. Remember, in the decline in October, the highest the VIX actually got was only around 28. 40 is usually where you go for a bottom, above 40. Remember, back in February, we got it for a day. Okay, so the fact that we didn't get there in this move down yet means there could still be some room, in my opinion. The trend closes high at 1.78. Keeps the 10-day moving average way up at 1.09. NASDAQ volume, 2.2 billion shares. Obviously a little lighter than we've seen, but that's because of the bank holiday. The advanced decline ratio, that was horrible on the NASDAQ, negative 1664. A lot more stocks down than up, negative 1353 on the New York. Google loses 2766, puts it back where it was back in February and March. Apple, though, this is the big one, down 1030. That's a much bigger drop for percentage-wise for Apple, and undercuts, it's about to fill a gap, but it undercuts the low of the last 3 or 4 months. And by the way, the gap down almost left an entire 4-month floating island there. I've never seen that before. Didn't quite do it the way it gapped, but almost. So that's interesting. Netflix down $9.40. Amazon down $75.58. Tesla down 19.23. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, up 74 cents to 114.09. The Dow was off 600 points, by the way. Goldman Sachs, this is a big one here with the fraud charges, down 16.6. It's a big move down to Goldman Sachs. New lows for the year on Goldman Sachs now. That's not helping either. Facebook down $3.41, and a crack under the lows there is certainly going to be interesting. That'll be on the list of stocks for Tuesday. All right, in terms of intraday action. So here's the ES. Small gap down, went lower. By the time it got to lunch, and lunch started, we'd already made most of the move for the day. Dead flat, and then one last sell-off in the last 10 minutes. NASDAQ side, on the other hand, pretty much the same story. Everything was program trading, it looks like, for the day. In terms of economic data that's coming out on Tuesday here in the real part of the week. We got the NFIB Small Business Index at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Who's up then? Federal budget balance at 2. Loan officer survey at some point in time. And then later in the week, we still have Fed chairman speaking and CPI and everything else that comes weekly and all sorts of stuff. So we'll see what we get. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. Have a great trading week Tuesday.